Mercedes just did what nobody expected. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Mercedes chief confirms new floor upgrade for the Silver Arrows in the upcoming Austin race. Mercedes technical director James Allison has confirmed new upgrades for the W14, which the team is set to introduce in the upcoming race at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. The Mercedes design team back at Brackley has already shifted its focus to the W15. The upgrades for the W14, however, are aimed at providing a better understanding of the parts and guiding the team on the correct path heading into next season. Allison confirmed that the team will be introducing a new floor in Austin, but was cautiously optimistic about gaining any performance advantages. He made the comments after the Qatar GP. "We're going to bring a new floor to the track, but don't expect any major steps forward. It will give us some gain from a chronometric point of view, but it will serve above all to understand if we are on the right track." Prior to the Qatar GP, Rosie Waite, head of race strategy, had already confirmed the development of the W14 late into the season to further increase their understanding of certain areas while being hopeful of adding performance. "The new parts we bring to the car do both, hopefully add performance and make the current car go faster, but they are all specifically targeted around areas where we need to further our understanding. And the things we will learn from testing them this year will directly feed into the development of the W15. The Silver Arrows cannot afford to take another step in the wrong direction next season if it aspires to fight for race wins and eventually championships. Hence, these upgrades will be crucial for the team to start its 2024 campaign on the right note. The upgrades could also help Mercedes sustain its fight for second in the Constructors' Championship with Ferrari. The Italian team currently trails the Silver Arrows by 28 points with 5 rounds left in the season. The battle between the Mercedes duo Lewis Hamilton and George Russell has been intensifying over the last few weeks. It seemed to reach a tipping point on the first lap of the Qatar GP, when an ambitious move by Hamilton denied both drivers a podium finish. Sky German pundit Ralf Schumacher has asked Mercedes to intervene now to handle the situation to prevent such incidents. "Lewis gives in too early, simply doesn't give George enough space," he told Sky Deutschland. "The Mercedes were strong, they threw away good points. There's a bit of work to be done between the two now. You can deal with each other either way. The team has to intervene now." Former F1 champion Nico Rosberg, who had been in such circumstances, agreed that such collisions shouldn't happen between teammates. "The mistake wasn't a big one, but it had big consequences. Of course, something like that shouldn't happen." The battle between the two Brits will continue as George Russell recently admitted that both drivers were on equal terms in the team. The second story is Mercedes told to intervene now after Lewis Hamilton and George Russell's Qatar GP clash. Ralf Schumacher called upon Mercedes to intervene now after teammate Lewis Hamilton and George Russell clashed at the Qatar Grand Prix. The Brits lined up behind pole-sitter Max Verstappen on the grid, with hopes of working together to reel in the Red Bull. But that plan was in tatters after just a few seconds when they made contact at the first corner. Hamilton lost a wheel and was buried in the gravel, his race over. Russell was able to carry on but dropped to the back of the pack after pitting for a new front wing, able to recover impressively to 4th place. Analyzing the incident for Sky Germany, 6-time F1 race winner, Schumacher said, "Lewis gives in too early, simply doesn't give George enough space. The Mercedes were strong, they threw away good points." And the 48-year-old went on to suggest that the incident might be indicative of a deeper lying issue between the Brits. He added, "There's a bit of work to be done between the two now. You can deal with each other either way. The team has to intervene now." Speaking on the English-language version of Sky's coverage, Hamilton's former teammate Nico Rosberg was not so sure that the collision needed to be addressed. "There's not that much to discuss, it's relatively one-sided," he said. "Lewis tried it on the outside because he had the soft tires. He was very fast, had a lot of grip. But then he misjudged something. He pulled in a little too early. The mistake wasn't a big one, but it had big consequences. Of course, something like that shouldn't happen." Though he appeared to point the finger at Russell with his first radio message after the clash, it wasn't long before Hamilton accepted the blame. "I'm really sorry to my team," he said. The opportunity was there to get some good points. In the heat of the moment, I didn't really understand what had happened. I obviously felt the tap from behind, but I don't think George had anywhere to go. It's just one of those really unfortunate situations. I'm happy to take responsibility. Everyone is working incredibly hard, so it's massively gutting to have a result like this. And the two drivers shared a brief embrace after the race, shown in footage shared on social media by the Mercedes team. In the clip, Hamilton approaches Russell and says, "Sorry about today, it wasn't your fault. Great job." They hug and give each other a couple of pats on the shoulder before Russell finishes with a thumbs up. Lewis Hamilton has insisted his relationship with George Russell isn't broken following their lap 1 collision at the Qatar Grand Prix. Hamilton was at fault for their collision into the first corner of the opening lap in Qatar. The contact forced Hamilton out of the race, his first DNF of the year, and Russell dropped to the back of the field. Russell ultimately recovered to finish 4th, suggesting it was a missed opportunity for Mercedes given his impressive race pace. Speaking after the race to Sky Italia, Hamilton explained why his relationship with Russell will be unaffected by the incident. "I think we are a great team. George and I still have a great relationship. We will discuss things and work away," Hamilton said. "I'm happy to take responsibility as the older guy. I don't think George had anywhere to go at that point. I was trying to get ahead of both of them and just an unfortunate situation. I had the worst tire of everyone around me, so I needed to try and get ahead. Big risk, big penalty. The relationship isn't broken. I don't have any problems with George. We have a great relationship. We work and we always talk about things. So this is definitely unfortunate, and I'm sure he was frustrated in the moment like I was. But we will talk about it offline and we move forwards. As I said, just apologies to all of the team." The third story is Lewis Hamilton needs to be less harsh on himself after the crash at Qatar Grand Prix. It was looking like a promising day of racing for the Mercedes car before Lewis Hamilton unfortunately collided with George Russell at turn 1 of lap 1 of the Qatar GP. The collision sent Hamilton spinning out on the gravel trap, and the damages meant there was going to be no more racing for the British driver. An infuriated first response soon became an apologetic take as Hamilton spoke to the media after the race. However, F1 expert Martin Brundle feels the 7-time world champion is being too hard on himself. Experts and pundits suggest it was the lack of grip of the soft tires on a dusty, sandy track that led to the collision between the teammates. Nonetheless, Brundle labels it a racing incident as he shows empathy towards the senior Mercedes driver and wants Hamilton to go easy on himself following an unfortunate incident. Starting the race right behind Max Verstappen in Qatar, the Mercedes drivers would have wanted to lock out the maximum points possible from the race. With Hamilton opting to start the race on faster tires as compared to Russell, there should have been the understanding between the two that Hamilton would be quicker off the line. The same question presented itself to Martin Brundle during Spotify's F1 Checkered Flag podcast, to which the 64-year-old replied that he felt Hamilton was being a bit too hard on himself. "I think Lewis Hamilton is being potentially slightly hard on himself there. I do see it as a racing incident. I don't think there's anywhere that George Russell could have gone. He had Max Verstappen to the inside of him, and I think it's very sporting of Lewis to send that tweet out." Brundle added, "The apology could have been an act of keeping a positive environment within the Silver Arrows garage, especially since the team lost out on vital points in the Constructors' Championship. With Carlos Sainz not starting the race in Qatar, Mercedes had a distinct advantage over Ferrari and could have earned a massive lead over them in the Constructors' Championship. However, the advantage faded mere meters into the race, as Hamilton's DNF meant only one Mercedes car would be out on the track. Starting the race in P2, George Russell had a major advantage over the rest of the field and vied for a podium finish. However, as the first turn approached, Russell found himself at the bottom of the barrel as his car spun out of control following the collision. For the next 56 laps, Russell had an uphill battle facing him as he had to drive in extreme conditions under added pressure to ensure the best possible finish for his team. As the safety car came out, Russell pitted to be on undamaged mediums and continued racing. Given the same, Brundle and co believe had there been no damage to Russell's car, the 25-year-old had a shot at securing a podium finish in Qatar. However, it wasn't meant to be, as despite overtaking almost the entire grid, Russell did not have enough pace left in the car to get the better of the McLarens. In the end, Russell secured P4, while McLaren, once again, locked out 2/3 of the podium. The first Mercedes Formula One car that Lewis Hamilton claimed a race victory in is heading to auction on November 17th as part of RM Sotheby's Las Vegas auction, held on the weekend of the first-ever Las Vegas Grand Prix. The seven-time Formula One world champion claimed victory with the car at the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2013, 1 year before the hybrid era in which Lewis Hamilton and the Mercedes team dominated. Hamilton didn't just drive the car in Hungary, as this was the very W04 he drove in 14 of the 19 races held during that year's F1 season. RM Sotheby's expects the car to sell for between $10 million and $15 million,